I'm often asked, what do you think enlightenment is? Well, it's about being more full of light. Enlightenment. We become full of light. So what's the practical effect of that? Well, for me, there's so many variants of enlightenment, and pretty much every time we learn anything, we're a bit more enlightened than we were before. If we want to become good at something, then there will be an enlightenment process involved in getting from wherever we are now to becoming good at whatever that is. If there's a field of study that interests us, then the getting of light is the learning of what's needed. But for me, the enlightenment process requires not just the knowledge, but it requires also some experience, because it's through the experience that we gain the wisdom, and there's a vast sea of difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is pretty much in the head. It's all pretty theoretical. But wisdom isn't. Wisdom's more lived in. Wisdom is, I've done this, I've been there, I've seen the pitfalls, I know what to watch out for, and I know how we can optimize this situation because I've done it so many times. That's wisdom. So it could apply to something like carpentry. It could apply to something like law. And of course, it applies to spirituality. Because spirituality is such a vast field, different commentators have very different ideas about what to them is enlightenment. But certainly there is a sensation that we can connect with a literal light that's within us. It is bright like the sun when you connect with it. And there are all different kinds of light within as well. Sometimes one of the earliest enlightenment experiences is that we connect with a kind of a purple light within the Ajna chakra. Some see it as more blue, some see it more purple. With other people, they connect with a light that is similar to looking at the sun. It's so blazing that you just wonder how on earth you could be seeing that with your eyes closed. And yet again, there's experiences of the whiteness where all other colour just disappears. Every thought disappears. There's just whiteness. And it feels like we kind of disappear into that whiteness. So these experiences of literally the light, we experience the light. I've seen the light. You know, you've heard that said probably by people a bit sarcastically sometimes. Oh, he's seen the light. But the thing is, we do see the light. I think it's a mistake to think that that equals enlightenment. I think that is, very good. You know there's more. You know there's more than the physical. You know that there's a whole other realm we can access. Yes, now let's get going. Because for me, the enlightenment process is that we then bring all of that light into our lives. We live from that place. And this will mean that our consciousness will start to evolve, probably to a place where we will make decisions a little differently to other people. There was a great book written many years ago now called The Road Less Travelled. And that book epitomized what I'm talking about, that we end up on a pathway that is our pathway of further enlightenment, where the decisions we're making, the way we make decisions, and the sorts of factors we take into account when making decisions may be richer than it would have been for us, say 10 years ago or longer. Despite that, as a person growing in enlightenment, it's still possible and in fact desirable for us to be mixing with everybody, to be in all kinds of different situations and scenarios, not to be in an ivory tower by ourselves, but really in the world, being relatable and bringing your light to everyone and everything. I'm very keen on the spirituality of Durga, or the goddess consciousness, and Durga is about the strength. And for me, the strength that Durga has is the strength to bring your light into every part of life. So life can be easy sometimes, where it kind of feels quite easy to stay in touch with your light, but very challenging at other times. And then it can be really hard to stay in at one-ment with that light. But with growing self-realization, we can. The strength becomes so much greater, And the wisdom that's born through direct experience becomes like a golden light rather than these other things that I was talking about earlier. So enjoy the process and be aware of the many and varied pathways towards that enlightenment, and may we have respect for all of them. Namaste.